long, long time ago, in a faraway land, there was a small but very quaint town. Everyone in this town got along very well with each other and never told a lie. There was also a very kind-hearted carpenter. His name was Geppetto. Master Geppetto made a living by making wooden puppet toys for children, but he was very poor. His biggest wish in life was to have a child. Since he could not fulfill his dream, he decided to make a wooden child for himself and treat him like a child. He went to the forest and found a piece of wood. He brought the tree stump to his workshop and started to shape it. Every time he struck the log, he started to hear "ah!" The master carpenter's puppet, almost like a real child, was finally finished. Master Geppetto, who already loved him very much, named him Pinocchio. Geppetto, who had been working all day, fell asleep from exhaustion. Pinocchio was sitting at his desk. At that moment, a fairy appeared and said, "O kind-hearted master, you have earned the fulfillment of your greatest wish with what you have done so far. I will give you a child just like the one you dreamed of." She touched Pinocchio with her magic wand, and suddenly the puppet started to move. Geppetto, who woke up in the early hours of the morning, was surprised to see Pinocchio, who was looking at him with his beady eyes and red cheeks, and hugged him. He said, "I can't believe it. My son is alive." "Yes, father, I am your son," said Pinocchio. Years passed and Pinocchio grew up, and it was time to go to school. Pinocchio needed pencils, notebooks, and books to go to school. He asked his father for money to buy them. Geppetto, who was very poor and had a hard time making ends meet, could not tell his son that he did not have the money to buy these things, so he went and sold his coat. "Take this money and buy what you want for school, Pinocchio." "Okay, Dad, I'll go to the market right away," said Pinocchio. Taking the money from his father, Pinocchio set off, and on his way he saw a huge tent and a crowd. He immediately went to them and tried to understand what was going on. It was a circus, and there were various shows going on inside. He immediately tried to go inside, but the attendant at the door stopped him. "You need a ticket to get in." Pinocchio thought for a while and then showed the money in his hand. "Can you give me a ticket too?" Pinocchio bought his ticket and went inside and started to watch the shows with excitement. The circus owner immediately realized that he was a live puppet and grabbed him and locked him in a cage. Pinocchio, who was very sad, started to cry. At that moment, the fairy who had turned him into a live puppet came. The fairy said she would save him and give him his money back. The fairy had only one condition. Pinocchio must be a good boy and not lie. Pinocchio ran out of the circus and set off with his money in his hand. Seeing that he had money in his hand, the cunning fox and the money-grubbing cat blocked his way. "What are you going to do with it?" "I'm going to buy books and pencils for school." "What will you do when you go to school? Come and listen to us. Let's plant that money in the field and it will grow more. That way you'll be rich." "Very good idea. Take my money and plant it," said Pinocchio. The cat and the fox deceived Pinocchio and ran away with the money. Pinocchio lost his money once again. Then the fairy appeared and asked Pinocchio, "What happened, Pinocchio?" "A cat and a fox took my money from me by force." The lying Pinocchio's nose suddenly started to grow longer. "What's happening to my nose?" "You lie and your nose grows longer. This is a punishment for you. You promised never to lie again." Pinocchio realized his mistake and told the fairy the truth. The fairy forgave him and saved him again. Pinocchio started to walk home, but as luck would have it, he ran into an evil circus owner. He was very angry with him for running away. He grabbed Pinocchio and threw him into the sea. A huge whale swallowed Pinocchio. It was dark, cold, and wet in the whale's stomach. He was scared, wet, and started to cry. "Daddy, I wish you were here so I could hug you. I am so sorry for what I did," he said. Master Geppetto, who had not heard from his son for a long time, was also looking for Pinocchio. When his neighbors told him that they had last seen Pinocchio jumping into the sea, the old carpenter got into the boat and started looking for him. When Geppetto got into the boat, a storm started and he fell into the sea. As the story goes, the same whale swallowed him too. Pinocchio was very happy to see his father. The father and son hugged each other and longed for each other. Pinocchio told his father what had happened and made a plan to get out of the whale's stomach. He said to his father, "Do you have matches in your pocket, Daddy?" "Yes, I do," said Geppetto. "Now let's burn all the wood in the whale's stomach and escape when it opens its mouth with the smoke," said Pinocchio. Pinocchio's plan was successful and they escaped. Seeing all this, the fairy realized that he was a good son. She gave him a beautiful gift and turned him into a real boy. From that day on, Pinocchio and his father, who was a very honest and hard-working boy, lived a happy life.